Welcome to the Golden Feather. Grab a pint, a plate, and pick your seats. Your hosts, Vertek and Chibi Bree, are back from their latest adventure.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Golden Feather. Today is the 21st of January, 2022, and we are on episode 108, that's 108, with Vladis the Informator. With our guest Vladis. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Fantastic. Oh, and I see we got rated by a Paradox Gaming Network. Fantastic. Thank you, sir.
Oh, wow.
Thank you, sir. Jalan, fantastic as always. You're way too kind. Much appreciated. Welcome to the show, everybody. If you have not been here, just so you know, the first little bit of the segment of the show is introducing our guests to everybody. In case you haven't met them, it's especially valuable because you get to know the person behind the content they're making or behind their name on the chat boards for those who are not content creators. So, on that theme, sir, actually, you know what? First, sorry. Also beside me is Bree, partner in podcast and life. How was your day?
I'm not here. I'm just a ghost. I'm a figment of their imagination.
Ooh. Well, your camera is brighter today, so.
Hello. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Hey there, Creedlore.
Welcome in.
So, as I was saying, Sir Vladis. Yes, thank you. So, before I so rudely interrupted myself to introduce the other co-host here all the time, who are you, sir? What do you do, and what brought you to Ashes specifically?
The complete and utter downfall of World of Warcraft is what led me to Ashes of Creation. I was a huge WoW nerd for 16 years. I played all the way from 2006 to now, or not even till now. I quit July of 2021. And really, with all of the allegations that were happening during that month, the month of July 2021 had a lot of different things happening. There was Asmongold trying Final Fantasy for the first time. There was at the end of July with the allegations that got released with all that stuff that happened. But to be honest, that wasn't really what made me quit. What made me quit was the Steven always talks about the beaten dog analogy, and I realized that I was a beaten dog in that game, and I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't play or even stomach the daily content anymore. The daily grind didn't feel satisfying or engaging. And again, the reason why I feel like Ashes is just such a game that I just want to dedicate my whole life to almost is because, Steven has that passion that I have, I'm a very passionate person. Like when I see something, and especially when I hear the way he speaks, it just, I want to believe him, because with World of Warcraft, I wasn't getting anything like that as a player. It right. was horrible. And I think, there are people that still play, and that's great. I'm glad that they are finding the enjoyment in that game. I just couldn't anymore. So for myself, it's just one of those things where back in 2020, when I saw Asmongold interview Steven for the first time, that interview changed everything for me. That interview, I think Steven was on his way to Las Vegas, and Asmongold was able to literally talk to him, and Steven was in his car talking to him. And that interview just blew me away. And then I saw the Lazy Peon video and got even more blown away.
And it just snowballed.
Oh, dude, it was a snowball of amazingness. And then really once that happened, I sort of like, what am I still doing in WoW? But it's because I was such a WoW Andy. Like I wanted to believe in WoW, and I didn't want to face the reality of it anymore. Or I couldn't face the reality then. And so it took me another year, and I quit. Can't do it.
Yeah, stacks up. And you mentioned that beaten dog analogy, and I never realized how it really felt until I heard that analogy and said, yeah, you know what? I never thought about it, but yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right.
Oh yeah, I mean it's one of those things where, you know, Steven couldn't have been more correct. I mean, that's why a lot of people are super hesitant to believe in Ashes, because why? I mean, Star Wars: The Old Republic, which in my opinion should have been the biggest MMO to ever launch. It's Star Wars, for Christ's sakes. But what happened was, just like any other AAA corporate entity rushes out a game, and what happens? It fails. It was undercooked. It wasn't ready. It needed more time. And the whole thing is, oh, we'll do it in the patch. We'll do it in another patch. We'll do it in the next expansion. And players are just sick of it. I think players now are way smarter than the corporate overlords give them credit for. I think players are smart. I think they know now what is disingenuous. So
you see, what happened was we put the quality in the other box. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, so it's just, for me, like, oh man, and there's so much about Ashes that just excites the hell out of me, man. Like, I feel like this game, and I believe, Steven, that this game could be, if this game releases before Riot's MMO, this game will be one of the biggest MMOs to ever launch. He is correct when he says that, for sure.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I am very excited myself, but that brings us to today. We have you on because you are newer to the Ashes of Creation content sphere, and I've linked your links in there for the chat. If you guys ever want to pull that back up for later, ! Guest. Our mod Michaelis will be adding that throughout the stream as well. But you said you just started like a couple weeks ago on making content.
Yeah, so I started literally almost 3 weeks ago, it seems. And I did it because, again, the community in Ashes is awesome. Like, I literally went in and I went in to meet Zillan. I think Zillan was the very first person that I met as a content creator. And then I met Tin Man. And those two guys, man, we were just talking back and forth, and I was hungry for information. I was wanting to know everything, and they were so knowledgeable about the game and so inviting. And I got inspired, to be honest. I wanted to create content for Ashes because, with the note system being what it is, or what it's envisioned to be, we need content creators. Every server has the chance to literally be so unique and different that it's not going to be this, carbon copy of servers that are all going down the same railroad of content. Every server is going to be different. So, which calls for different voices to be said per each server. So the more I thought about it, the more I was just, I got to do this, man. I'm passionate. I hate editing. I absolutely hate editing. It's horrible. Like, it sucks. But to see my finished product, and I only have a couple of videos on YouTube right now. I'm working currently today. I'm finishing up my next video, which is about the node system.
Nice.
And it's a lot of work, but it's a labor of love, and I really do feel that my angle and where I want to go with my content is to do sort of like Joe Rogan pod style cast, like literally what we're doing here. But I want to get more intimate. I want to do one-on-one interviews with creators. I want to know not just about why they're excited for Ashes, but I just want to know about them, about their history in gaming, their history of playing MMOs. Why do you play MMOs instead of League of Legends or instead of Minecraft or, whatever? Why MMOs? I think MMOs, for a lot of people, felt like it was a dying genre. And, and it's like, but I feel like with Final Fantasy doing its thing, there is definitely going to be a resurgence. Lost Ark is literally right around the corner next month, and I am so excited to play Lost Ark. I am very excited to play Lost Ark. But, it's one of those things where it's just going to hold me over until I can get Alpha 2. Because, of course, that's where everyone wants to be at, right? Alpha 2.
Right.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Looking forward to that.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, by the way, thank you, Gruntag, for the sub. Much appreciated. Yes. And while you're talking there about this, did I miss a Wizzy sub? Oh my goodness. Thank you, Wizzy. Much appreciated, both of you. D2 Phoenix also, while you were talking, said, spoken like someone who's never spent time in the alpha room of the Discord.
So this is the thing about me. So I hate texting. Let me just preface that. Texting sucks. It's the worst form of communication ever. There's no emotion behind it. There's no tonality. Go look up a YouTube from Key and Peele about text messaging. Messaging back and forth.
I know the one you're talking about.
Yes, it's that's what text messaging is. It's so horrible. But I like to believe in people. I like to be optimistic about humanity, because let's just be honest, to be pessimistic about it, it's just not a life I don't want to live. I'm willing to give anybody the benefit of the doubt. So for myself, going in, looking at the Ashes Discord and, seeing sort of the degeneracy that may happen in there, I look past it. Everybody's just excited for this game. They want it to be out. And I'm just one of them. I'm one of the boys.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, you said you joined in 2020 following all of the Asmongold hype and
oh yeah,
our favorite lazy peon. So what is your favorite part of Ashes then that you've learned so far?
Oh my God. It seems so weird, or not weird. My favorite feature that I saw was more about the node system, or not the node system, the caravan system. The caravan system to me seems like a bunch of fun. So in World of Warcraft, if you want to mail something, you buy it from the auction house, it instantly goes into your mailbox. You get it from the mailbox, you put it into your inventory, or you send it to the bank, you send it to another player. There's hardly any gameplay there. In Ashes, it's not going to be the case. There's literally going to be whole gameplay on just inventory and transporting inventory from one era to the other. And there may be that, let me just say this. I'm sorry if I go off on tangents, but it's like Game of Thrones, because if I, as a player, right, I'm like, dude, me and my wife just farmed, 300, of these special herbs. And I need to hire this mercenary guild to protect our caravan from going to this spot so we can get a really good price down in the south. Well, what happens if I hire that mercenary? I pay them my gold, but they were already hired previously because they know that I was farming with my wife with that thing. And they're like, hey, we want you to get halfway and then kill them. Take their caravan and then give it to us, and we'll pay you double. How do you not know that might happen?
Exactly.
Oh, no, I know it is going to happen.
And that's the whole awesomeness of the caravan system, is you don't know who to trust. And it's going to be so exciting and fun, and it's going to be thrilling. And that's what this whole game is about, man. It's bringing the excitement back to MMOs. Everything is so on rails. And I feel it's just, the caravan system seems to me like a whole buttload of fun. And for me, like, I'm a dad, I don't have all the time in the world to play. But man, just if I need to log in for 2 hours and I can go on a caravan run, that's awesome gameplay to me. At least to me. It may suck, like in principle, it may go into the alpha 2 and it may be not as great as I think it is, but there's always that chance, right? There's always that chance.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So will you be attacking caravans or primarily defending them?
I might do both. I don't know. It's going to be fun. So I know for me, it's just one of those things where I've always been a very good person at heart. At least I like to think so. But in World of Warcraft, I play Horde. Loktar Ogar all the way. I don't play Alliance. And as much as I love Asmongold, he plays Alliance. He's a human warrior. But I am, and forever will be, like,
because he's soft-boiled, it's fine.
Or an orc warlock. It's just to say I like being, and I can't wait for the orcs. By the way, in Ashes, I think they're gonna look utterly amazing. But
super excited for it.
No, man, it's just the gameplay for Ashes in general. Just it seems to be so player driven that I can't contain my excitement for it, because there's so many MMOs that completely miss that community driven content, and it's just not fun and it's unengaging. And as much I love Final Fantasy too, I really love Final Fantasy, but if you're not a housing person or a role playing person, then really all you have is the raiding scene, And I'm not saying that there's not community in Final Fantasy. There definitely is. But I feel like Ashes is really going to have a sense of community for a bunch of different content and not just segmented into one aspect.
Sorry, my responses to the chat. Apparently, Bacon is also leaving.
Yes, that got broken this morning. Yeah,
Oh
Bacon left this
What?
morning. Yeah,
Last week, we're about to go live, and they're like, "Yeah, Toast is leaving." I'm like, "What?" And this week, Bacon's leaving. Are we cursed? What is happening?
My
He went
goodness.
to Amazon, and here's the thing. And I have a couple of friends of mine who are in the gaming industry right now, and let's just put it this way: the gaming industry is hurting for people. They really are. And, you know, Steven has said many times that being transparent is a double-edged sword, not just on the player side, but also for the developer side, because right now, Amazon, let's just say New World is not at the state that they want it to be. And they look at someone like Bacon, who is amazing at creating, you know, environment and stuff like that. Steven is facing a downhill battle because at the same time, you know, he can only pay his people so much because he's an indie studio. They have a budget. You look at Amazon, almost $1 trillion company, they can just start sniping all of these indie studios away from them. You know,
Especially
and again,
because right now it's all an investment to get something started. So they already know they're going to run at a loss for a while. They've already accepted it. So they're just throwing money at the fire until it starts burning other things.
No, for sure. And it's one of those things that, you know, especially living in California, it's not exactly cheap living in California.
Aww,
Nope, we left there.
Yeah. And you don't go into the gaming industry as a developer to be rich, you know, and Steven has also said that too. So if you're getting paid, like let's say 75,000 to 90,000, which is probably where Bacon was, you know, salary wise. And then you have Amazon that's like, we'll pay you 30% more with a sign-on bonus. Even
and
if
perks.
and perks. And Amazon probably, you know, may have a crappy, you know, cubicle environment with bad bosses and all that. But if you need to live for the next couple of years, 30% more or 45% more, that's a lot of money to just say no to. And I think, again, Bacon and Steven had a great relationship. And I'm sure Steven wanted to pay Bacon more, but he's not going to do it at the detriment of the game. So, I mean, will we see Bacon back when Ashes officially launches and it does become the world's biggest MMO? That's right. Fingers crossed. I believe so, because they had a great relationship.
Maybe they're playing a little open world PvP and sending Bacon in to gather secrets. No.
Well, you know, and
oh my
stuff like
gosh.
that. I'm sure that's not really the case, but you know, at the same time, you know, at the same time, you know, it's just one of those things that it is devastating, but sorry, I was looking for my tinfoil hat. So put your tinfoil hat on, you know, for a second, right? So
Gotcha.
I think the reason why Bacon left is because he's finished with all the major assets of Ashes of Creation.
Yeah, I heard you talking kind of along that story with like a lot of the main systems are done is your theory on it. And
also, what Creed just said too. Bigger paycheck, but he has left all of he worked on in good shape for others to pick up.
Oh yeah, I mean, he left his team, and I feel like there are stuff. I think Steven did say in the Discord that someone asked, "Are the biomes done?" And Steven said, "No, they're not." But doing biomes and creating the huge structures, and so that's, you know, because I'm sure Bacon was in charge of the bigger picture environment stuff. You know, he has a team, of course, doing all of the biome work and stuff like that. But of course, using Unreal Engine 5, I, as a non-developer, can make a biome in like 15, 20 minutes. Like, I'm not even exaggerating.
As long as like there's some assets, or at least the concept art and everything's put together, and there's a direction on it, which is kind of what Bacon was doing, as my understanding of his role, then the biomes aren't necessarily done, but they're ready for someone else to pick up and run with, because, hey, I made a tiny little like 20 foot by 20 foot representation of this type of space in this biome, and here's a 20 foot by 20 foot of this other kind of space in the biome, and there you go. You got 7 different areas to take a look at for examples, and now just create the world. Go.
And then I see a thing by Vale Mistwarden says the art team is miles ahead of the rest. Yeah, I believe that. I think what Bacon did was he wanted to get to a finishing point, and I think he reached his finishing point, and he's going to leave his team to, you know, all the assets are there. You just got to put them in the world, you know. And I think that's where he left. You know, I don't think he left Steven high and dry. in that sense. I don't think there was some cabal between, Steven and Bacon behind closed doors and stuff like that. I don't think so. I mean, Bacon was with them since the beginning. I think it was just a heart to heart being like, hey, Amazon's going to pay me a lot of money. And Steven was probably like, as much as I hate to let you go, like, I understand, man. Like, I can't do that for you right now, but I guarantee you, if you ever want to come back and when Ashes of Creation launches, I'll pay you what you deserve to be paid.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And
a few things.
Take a moment out.
Woodchip, thank you. 29 months. Oh my gosh.
Seriously.
Dang.
I can't believe we've even been going that long. Hey.
That's awesome.
And then we have Zetrix, who says, here's your template and your workflow. Go for it. Anduin. Hi, Anduin. Welcome in, by the way. I'm curious about how many of the OG devs are left at this point from the first year of Kickstarter. And then we have Majira fan saying, hey, Mario, you're doing amazing. Trev.
Yeah, I did reach out to a couple of my friends and family, so they're probably watching.
Nice. Awesome. Hello, friends and family.
But yeah, I'm really sad, but it is what it is, and it's the nature of the beast. When in the tech industry, even people leave, they bounce from place to place. So is a thing. So yeah, hi fam. They did also just get 5 new hires. Exactly. So they are hiring like crazy.
No, they have.
Again, right. And this thing is being funded completely from Steven's pocket, essentially.
And a very minuscule addition from a Kickstarter when compared to the grand amount that.
Oh, the grand scheme of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think it's just one of those things where Steven knows, he became a millionaire at 29 for a reason. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
oh my gosh.
And that's the other reason why I believe. Or go ahead.
I just realized, by the way, we have a prestigious title. Those of us who were in the Kickstarter, by the way, because originally it was like 300,000 or so was raised in the Kickstarter, and there was 30 million put in at the beginning.
Nice.
So technically, we began in this project as the 1%ers. Yeah. You like that? We're 1%ers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And it's like I said, he became a millionaire for a reason. So that's the other reason why I'm really excited for Ashes, because I don't think money is going to really sway Steven. Like if 10 million people subscribe to Ashes of Creation, he already had millions of dollars before Ashes of Creation. Having millions of dollars after ain't going to really be too much. So his vision of not having any pay to win, his vision to get the game going and to keep it. The reason why Final Fantasy was so successful is because Yoshi P did not stray on his vision. They had a huge misstep with 1.0, absolutely huge. And look what it costed them. It costed them 10 years to be now going from the worst released MMO to now the best MMO. And so it's one of those things where first impressions are so important. And Steven knows we have to give the people a great first impression for our game.
Yeah. I agree.
Absolutely. And good night, by the way, Mick. And you guys know you like that joke. Don't pretend you didn't.
I'm gonna take us into the community spotlight while also being in the guest spotlight at the same time. You just made your previous video. You are working on your current one for nodes, but your previous one is Will Combat Fail in Ashes of Creation? Can you give me a little bit of like where your viewpoint came from with that? Like what inspired that video?
So before Unreal Engine 5 was on the table as a question, the 3 questions were, when is Ashes going to be on Unreal Engine 5? When is the Alpha 2? And when the heck are you going to, give us a direction on combat? Is it tab? Is it action? Is it still going to be hybrid? What's going to happen with combat? I think, by first impressions, right? If everything being the same, right? All systems being good at launch and everything, the one system that everybody is going to nitpick and really dissect and really feel from a perspective of feel if it feels good, is combat. Combat is the most integral part of an MMO because that is your day-to-day stuff. If you're going questing, you're doing your events, you're doing raiding, it's all integral into the combat and how it feels. So for me, being a WoW player for so long, I want Ashes to be a kind of a tab enhanced game, for being a WoW player, but it's not to say that if it goes action, I'm not going to play it, because again, like I'm excited for Lost Ark. Lost Ark is an action-based MMO. So, but I think what people really want more than anything is to not straddle the fence of appeasing or trying to appease both sides. Because what happens when, a company does that, no one is happy. The tab people aren't happy. The action people aren't happy. So therefore, no one plays. And I think that's a very bad spot for Intrepid to be in when it comes to combat. But of course, combat is going to be the thing we're going to test the most in Alpha 2. So am I worried about, for Ashes Creation, am I worried about the combat system failing? Yes and no, because I think Steven is going to do his best and the team is going to do his best to try to really solidify a direction. And people always mention Guild Wars 2. I have not played Guild Wars 2. I can't really comment on it, but all I do know is that Guild Wars 2 is on a non-Trinity based system. So with Ashes of Creation being Trinity based, it's one of those things where I don't know if a hybrid system is really going to work. And if it is going to work, it can't be like Guild Wars 2. It literally has to be a completely unique hybrid system that no developer has ever done. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing is that they kind of are really, and that's what is better and worse about it, because it is going to be a truly hybrid where you get to decide which direction your attacks go, or your heals or your skills go, or you can dial them and change things up so that they can go more action oriented or more DPS oriented, and that's the double-edged sword of it. Is that is something that I don't know of a game that's done. It's just this skill is tab, this skill is action. Yeah. The end is the split that I've seen as far as like a hybrid. And those have worked really well. Like I keep going back to it. WildStar had a fantastic version of that. Like there were some skills with attacks and heals both that were targeted and some that were just you have to aim it, but it's going to be a smart aim as well. It's going to pick your most damaged person or your biggest enemy or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, and I've never played WildStar. Like I said, I was a WoW Andy for 16 years, so I played very limited MMOs. Like I tried out, Star Wars because I love, especially the Old Republic stuff. I love that stuff. But of course, didn't play for that long.
Did you ever play like Discipline Priest
for World of Warcraft?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or something like that, where it would have it would like seek out, or even Druid, some of their stuff, where it would seek out like the most damaged person to apply the heal to. Yeah, well, it would do that, except your heal would be smart, but you would actually have a direction you needed to aim it. So you'd take the most damaged person in that direction. So that you could be responsible for...
sort of like Light of Dawn for Paladins or Holy Paladins. You have to face directionally to have everyone healed in that direction. No, it's again, I think it's just gonna be one of those things where because we haven't been in Alpha 2, because Alpha 1 didn't really show the true capability of the hybrid system, there's a lot of uncertainty, right? So it being so uncertain, people tend to debate it and talk about it. And I think everybody just wants to, like, and I did it myself, is impressionalize what their favorite combat system is and say, well, that system should be in Ashes and everybody will be happy, and you have the people in New World saying like, oh, if New World's combat was in Ashes, it'd be the best game ever. Or if, World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy, or place whatever game there into Ashes.
Insert game.
And that just comes, from passion, right? I think, that's the one thing I love about the MMO community is the amount of passion that, we have. And, for me as a person, that's why I love talking about these things and discussing these things, because there really is no right or wrong. I think, to me, it really doesn't make sense for the combat, because Steven's games that he played for so long were all tab games. So it just like if I was a multimillionaire and I've only played tab and I said, I'm going to make an MMO and it's going to be action based. It's like, what? Like, it doesn't make sense, but I understand what Steven's trying to do. I really just hope it's not a misstep to try to cater to both action and tab players. Like, because I feel like you're not going to appease one side and you're going to really piss off one or the other. So I just don't have faith in an indie studio making such a unique combat system. I mean, no offense. I mean, I think I could be proven wrong. And do I want to be proven wrong? Absolutely. Like, I really do. But
well, yeah, because you got to ask yourself also, like, on that same note, would you have faith in an indie studio to create a revolutionary node system?
You got me there. I like I said, I mean, every single thing that I've seen has been so amazing. So again, it's just that side that worries me, like everybody else, where we see this uncertainty and we think of all of the worst scenarios in our head, and we're like, oh God, no, like, no, you know, we don't want that for Ashes. We want everything in this game to be perfect, you know, and I think we're going to be, you know, in a state, you know, in Alpha 2. And again, I think Alpha 2 is going to come pretty soon.
Sorry, I'm not responding to you. I'm literally having a nonverbal conversation with chat. Z's trying to ask if I'm pregnant again because I seem to be radiant tonight. And every time we say we have a big announcement, Z always asks if it's because I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I think honestly, some of the things that people have been chatting about is like Woodchip says they need to make a decision to nail down combat soon so they can focus on the rest of the game. If they keep effing around with the combat, this game is going to take over. Just put it in tab enhanced and move on. And then Creed says Steven's able to offer both to the players. And honestly, I think it's kind of nice to have the two options. I don't know. Yeah, the versatility. Like Vertex seemed to enjoy the action based, and I was like over here like, nah, I'd rather stick to the tab based. But I also heal a lot, so
me too. I was a Mistweaver monk for a while in World of Warcraft, and there's a lot of smart healing there. Yeah, I know, right? Unless you have the legendary, and then it's actually viable, but that's a whole other topic. But I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, I think you think of what you do in your head and you're like, how the hell does that translate? You know, and I think again, the uncertainty, it keeps going. And the more we wait on Alpha 2, the more the uncertainty grows. So I think a lot of these things are going to be addressed once the Alpha 2 does happen in the summer. So I'll just wait and see.
So that's your prediction?
Yes, my prediction is the summer. It's a no-brainer. Like, I mean, I think the implementation for Unreal Engine 5 is going to take a few months, but it's not going to be this huge thing. It really isn't. Like, I talked to one of my buddies about it, and he's like, it is a lot of detailing stuff, and I'm sure, you know, the assets that Ashes Creation has is a lot for sure. But the fact that you're going to have multiple people working in the system simultaneously, we've never seen that production speed in the many years.
In the long run, it's going to be really helpful.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be exponential, you know? And so I feel like if it takes them from January to now till March to completely port everything over and everything's good, like 2 months. So think of it this way. What they did in 2020 that took 6 months, how do you not know that can take a month with Unreal Engine 5? We don't, because we've never experienced development. Yeah, we've never experienced development for Unreal Engine 5 as a viewer. We've only seen the pace that they've been going in with this round robin system of checking in and out, but that's only one at a time. Now you have 120 developers all simultaneously working in different cells of the world. We have yet to see that kind of production speed. So I think this year in general is going to be very exciting.
Indeed. And hello, by the way, Reckless. Long time no see, sir. Hope things have been going great for you, especially in the new year.
Indeed.
You know, new year, new good things and all. But I'm pretty much on board with the same thing you're saying to a degree. Like, I don't think all of their systems are done. And obviously not polished, because they're going to be doing that stuff all the way up through like the final beta and probably the night before they finalize the launch copy.
And they don't need to be done. So when I say done, I mean the fundamental system.
Ready to test. Yeah, ready to put in there and start
Correct.
building components to final version before putting out to testing. Like, hey, this is ready to almost test.
Yes. It's just going to be one of those things where the pacing is going to be, people are going to freak out, man. I think this year is going to be very exciting, like I said. And I think people also think that the first couple of months are going to be very boring as far as like what they're going to show, because I'm pretty sure we're not going to see any mounts, right? This coming Friday, we're probably not going to see one mount, like, right?
Yeah.
No, we are going to see mounts. I'm pretty sure they're
Yeah, I
going
was
to show
gonna
mounts.
say, yeah.
No, we're going to see mounts.
Yeah, I was gonna say I got the sarcasm there. Like, yeah, about that.
No, we're going to see mounts, but I think we're also going to see a glimpse into the character creator. I think we're going to see a glimpse of finished concept art for the Renkai. I think
honestly,
we're going to
wait for the character creator.
If they were planning well out, I would plan it to do any kind of character creator peak until like the planned middle of the lull. That way it's, you're running dry on some content and you need to renew some interest and drop the character creator peak and go into that a little bit, and then bring it back up in more detail later on, right before actually finally saying, hey, we're done moving over to UE5. Now we can start showing off stuff in that engine.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I think they are going to do it at that kind of a pace. I think the first 6 months, you're going to have your first 3, which is going to be porting over everything on UE5. And then you're going to have a period in between the summer, which is like maybe April, May, maybe a little bit of June, kind of polishing, making sure all the fundamental base systems are working properly and everything like that. And then we're probably going to get into the Alpha 2 in the summer. I think the summer did so well for them last year. And I think it's going to play very well for them this year because what's coming out in the summer? Nothing is coming out in the MMO genre. Like nothing.
The sun
like you have
and the beaches. That's about it.
I mean, so as a gamer, you have Lost Ark coming out next month. You have Guild Wars 2's expansion coming out, I think this month or next month. Everything is literally happening. Everything is all front loaded. And you have 9.2 for World of Warcraft probably happening next month. Hopefully, if not, I don't really care, but I mean, it could probably go till summer too. I mean, with their kind of production schedule, but either way, there's nothing happening this summer. So I think the summer will do very good for them. Even if it's late June, going into Alpha 2 and then testing all the way till August again, or not August, but going permanently all the way till the release. I just think, again, they do have a lot of fundamental parts of the systems completed. Now, are they polished and everything? Like, no, but that's the point of an alpha.
Not. Yeah,
that's
exactly. Well, they're not going to polish the combat system until they get to test it anyway. They're not going to put a lick of polish on it until they're confident that they have a good direction to go in.
Exactly. So I think that's where we need to be for Alpha 2. And I think it's definitely going to happen. I really do. Because I say 2 months with Unreal Engine 5 productivity is probably equivalent to 5 the old way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, we mentioned this last stream, but for those of you that didn't catch Ash's last streams, the big thing about UE5 is that multiple artists can log into the same zone at once instead of waiting one at a time. Log into a zone, wait for that person to log out before you can log in. And that's really gonna really going to expand the potential of what can be built in the time that it can be built, and I'm really excited. But I wanted to go back up and see. Creed says there are advantages to either one. Going back to the combat, I rather have the free action style. So if I miss it, that it means that I missed the target because they were not in my crosshairs, and vice versa. If I move out of their attack targeting, they miss. This means no more random calculations of the hit-miss ratio that tab targeting is stuck to. Action-based makes combat more lively and has far more meaningful movement and avoidance. And then Ashes of Nair on the topic of Alpha 2 says, I hope that they don't try to cram too much into A2 at the beginning. I'd much rather they add stuff step by step over the next year. And we kind of saw that a little bit with Alpha 1 with the iterations, where we had the initial Alpha 1 and then we had our responses of like, hey, this is broken, hey, this needs fixed, hey, that. And they kept iterating it over and over. And by the time you got to the end of the Alpha 1 testing, it was a nicer, smoother game than the beginning of the Alpha 1. Servers, whole other conversation.
So, can I ask a question? Just because.
Yeah.
What got y'all to play, or to even back in the Kickstarter of 2017? Like, what allowed y'all to just believe in this vision and game? And because I don't know, we were going to talk about that before stream a little bit, but I wanted to save it because I want to know. I want to know what brought y'all to Ashes.
So mine's a lot shorter. I'll just say I got tired of World of Warcraft. I had just finished my finals for I just finished my finals for a spring, and I saw what is kind of like on the screen, although this is way more polished than 2017 had. If you guys go back to the Ashes of Creation YouTube and check out the 2017 videos, you'll see those. But yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh, it's so pretty. And I immediately wanted to back. That's really all it was for me.
Oh, awesome. What are you, Versec?
Yeah. I was looking around for another game to play. And so like my background in gaming is, for the longest time, I was a cheap ass. I didn't want to pay for a game at all. And this was before like free-to-play games got really popular and everybody was making free-to-play games. So what I would do is look around for alphas and betas and play those until they went gold, they call it, where they went to actually launch out to the public. And at that point, as soon as they introduced hey, now we're going to have a $10 a month or $5 a month or $15 a month. All right, cool. It was fun. Have a good bye. And so I was kind of used to getting a good feel for a lot of games. And some of the games I played over the years felt really good. They just didn't catch on for one reason or another. But I was just getting tired of WoW. That was one of the big things, is bouncing between multiple servers with WoW, jumping in with this group or that group, because I didn't have like a guild that I had joined that kept me loyal to them or anything. Like any guilds I had played with stopped playing and left. I would jump into it with somebody and they would then move servers or they would quit playing, so then I paid to move a server for no reason. Started looking around for other games. Like if I just jump into a whole new game, I'll be forced to make a new character and meet all new people with a whole different attitude. And in looking around, couldn't find anything on the Google, and so I figured, hey, I've heard a lot of good stuff comes out of Kickstarter, let me take a look around there. And as soon as I put in MMORPG in Kickstarter, that was the first response. I clicked on it, and it was all magic words and love from that point on. Like everything I read and heard was just fantastic. So,
no, for sure. I think the WoW community is tired, man. I think, there's so many people like myself that have been playing since, Burning Crusade, Classic, and I think we're just so tired. Like we can't even believe in the game anymore. We can't believe in Blizzard anymore. I think with all of the recent stuff, it just made it worse. Like, why am I investing my time into this game? Does this game even bring me the joy that I want? Does this community bring me the joy that I once had? And for me, like all my friends were leaving, like they were just dropping like flies. And it was just me and one other person that was still left from the original group back in Wrath. And I told her, I was like, I can't stay. I want to for you, but I can't for me. Like I can't. And, I told her, I was like, I'm going to meet people in this new game, this Ashes game, and I'm going to find an awesome community. And then whenever you're tired, which I know you will get tired, you can come with us. Cause she's a bit of a hermit, like a lot of WoW players are sometimes, and I think it's hard to trust people, but I feel like with the community that I've met, have been all great. All of them. Like I haven't met one person that was super crappy or anything like that. It's been really cool. Well, I got to meet you lovely people, right? So it's been awesome.
And everybody here that is talking in chat, I can vouch for at least most of them. Some names I don't recognize, and hello new people for the names I don't recognize. But
by the way,
me, I'm
Albedo,
safe, said Z.
First time viewer.
I don't know about all that, but she's not too bad. She might burn down your house if you get her in a game that's competitive like that. She's done it before on live stream. So
who's to say?
Vertec, I'm just curious, what did you main in WoW?
What did I main? Oh man, I bounced around a bit. The first thing I tried,
I was an alcoholic too. No worries.
Yeah, the first thing I tried, and I always just kept up with it because it was my first character, was a druid. I started as a tank, and I tried cat and didn't like the play style of it. So then I went boomkin for the longest time, and then cataclysm hit, and people said, "Oh my gosh, truant healing is so difficult. I can't heal as a druid. They're dead." And I said, I'll do it. Whatever. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then I was just bare tree for the rest of my life after that. But yeah, I had a couple like DK. I mean, that was always a good standby for me. I always had fun with that one.
Nice.
And I miss the days of the undead tanking. Being able to tank as the what did they even
Forsaken.
call it? The green one. Was that the Forsaken stance or the Forsaken the green one? That's all I remember. And you'd pull out like your little buddies. Like they had the blood tank and
the Death Knight?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like blood was your tank. What was the name of the other one with the disease?
So there's Frost and Unholy.
Oh, it is Unholy. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Unholy tanking was a bunch of fun.
Oh yeah, but you're talking back in Wrath when anything could tank. Like dude. Death Knights were so broken in Wrath, man. They were so broken, but they were fun. Like I loved Blood DPS. Like that was my jam when I was playing back in Wrath. Blood DPS was so cool. And I honestly thought like Frost tanking was gonna be I don't know why they chose Blood as the forego tank afterwards, because Frost tanking just made so much more sense to me, but that's a whole other story and topic.
Yeah. It's a whole other talk show.
I like how Dante says, just came in and first thing I see is Z threatening to burn someone or something. Glad to see everything is on point.
And yeah, Creed lore right on point there. Age of Conan, fastest exodus I've ever seen. Old Timers Guild had 1,000 players logged into the game when it launched. By the 6th month, less than 50 logged into play. Old Timers Guild is pretty big too. They got a lot of people in there.
Agreed.
But I think I was just gonna say, and I think that's what the beauty of this open development is the fact that we could create our community for Ashes so early. There's like, if you go to the Discord, there's so many guilds. The game's not even out yet, and there are guilds for Ashes of Creation. And they go in Discords and they meet their people, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna be a summoner and I'm gonna be a tank, and talk about their background, stuff like that. Like, I think that's so awesome, the fact that you already can start diving in and creating a community with people.
Sorry. As you were talking, Dante commented, as a young Zoomer, listening to you old people talk about WoW is like listening to grandpa's back in my days.
Back in my day stories. No, for sure.
Oh my gosh. It's fantastic. But so we were talking, by the way, about combat, feel like combat, right?
For sure. Now,
on a little bit of a ramp away from that, but in the same kind of vein, how, in a real quick, like 2-sentence or less response, how have you felt about random drops in raids and such? Like just how they're allocated typically in games. Do they feel good? Do they feel natural? Do they feel like this is totally what I should have gotten from this boss on a typical basis?
I don't mind it, but I can see where it's outdated. Is that 2 sentences?
Yeah.
That works.
So I don't mind randomization. I know a lot of people, playing FF right now, everything. I mean, there is a little bit of randomization in getting your token, but you can do that boss again and again and again until you get your token, and 5 tokens to turn those tokens in to get your piece of gear. The gear chase is so much better for people in Final Fantasy. But for me, I think the one thing that Steven did say is gear is going to be randomized, but everybody will be able to get something. Because if you kill a dragon, there could be 30 dragon teeth that drop, along with 60 dragon hide, along with, all these like cuts of the dragon that isn't gear. But professions are also going to be such a huge aspect of Ashes of Creation, which you can, if you get that dragon teeth, you can maybe make a necklace. You go to someone who can make you that necklace for you. So even though you didn't get the gear, I think having that a bit of randomization to get the best gear is okay, at least for me. But I do know that there are a lot of people who don't like randomization. They just want to get their gear and be done.
And be done. Yeah. Well, the post that I found had an interesting discussion, but it was more around the randomization as far as like, let's say you go into using WoW as an example. Let's say you go into Ice Crown, right?
Yeah.
And you start finding flame swords sitting around. Like, why is that even a thing? This place is frozen. That flame should have been extinguished, or it should have been locked in a box so it doesn't melt the icy furniture or whatever. Like, it seems out of place or whatever. And you never know why you got that. Like, why is that sword in Ice Crown? It just makes no sense. There's no explanation. So this person, I'm going to butcher the name, but Azray is how I'm going to guess it's spelled.
Okay.
Came up with an idea that I kind of like. And its RNG drops should be based on in-battle RNG rather than post-battle RNG. And what they mean by that is instead of you have just a random item pool that you just get rolled on after the fact and anything is possible, whatever, certain actions that happen during the battle would trigger the chance to get a piece of that loot. Like if you end up, you're attacking in the front of a giant bull and you get a crit, like literally on their face with your sword, you have a chance of breaking off a horn.
Literally on
and then
their
that
face.
horn could be used for crafting for something.
Sorry.
But if you were attacking them from the flanks, you wouldn't get a chunk of the horn no matter how many times you crit because you're attacking the flanks. Maybe you might get some hide or something like that.
Kind of like Monster Hunter or the other game that we were playing for a second there. I forgot. It starts with a D.
Dauntless.
Dauntless, where like you attack certain areas and it removes things. That would be actually very, very cool, because it's dynamic in real life. If you in real life, if you like chop something's tail off, it comes off, and you can use materials from that for something else. Sorry, a little distracted. Yeah, Dante, we were just chatting about that earlier. People who are support or the main tank, about healers and bards. I forget. Healers support characters would need a post-battle something probably, because they might not get anything then. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I kind of like to chime in with the earlier conversation about the tokens. I kind of liked that, because if I could do something on a main character and I had a secondary character I was trying to build up, I could run on my main character, grab those tokens, and if it was account-wide, I could transfer it over to my secondary character to get them the gear that was necessary that I was missing. And I kind of liked being able to do that, because some things were just really hard to find, like a accessory piece that otherwise would be difficult to get. But I'm kind of just open. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I'm sorry. So I think I would personally, if I was creating Ashes, I would put the Final Fantasy vendors in the profession system. I think if Ashes really wants to be player focused and player community centric, I think, the vendor should be your friend next to you who maxed out their professions in leatherworking or blacksmithing or whatever. I don't know. I just think having vendors are good. I mean, I'm not trying to say that it's not, and especially with the node system being tier 6, they might, but if you look at what Steven said, when you just kill, like if you're a level 2 and you kill a boar, that boar is not going to drop gold. That boar is going to drop boar hide, and you turn those boar hide skins into a vendor, which gives you gold where you trade it in. So I think with the fundamental principle of Ashes and you doing that, to me, it wouldn't make sense if now there's a vendor where you just go buy your gear off of, when you've been doing from the beginning of trading the stuff that you get from your animals or from your quest mobs.
So how about this then? So how about there could be a hybrid system, which by the way would help healers and support characters, because a lot of the game is based around crafting, right, and involving the community. Yeah. So the majority of the drops from a boss would end up being token-like objects. Just saying token-like objects because they could be used to trade for something, or they could be used for crafting. Maybe they're crafting components that you could just trade to a vendor, and there's going to be a material sink right there, because people will just get 4 of the bull horns and 2 of the hides, And instead of crafting, the super awesome great gear, they can get 2 pieces of gear for, half the price that aren't nearly as good. They can just go to a vendor and be like, I got these things, what can you give me? Or you can save up a little bit more, take it to a player, and you have a much better item that can be crafted out of that. So they can be used as tokens or crafting. And items
so I think
that are completed could drop from any boss, because like they're guarding something, or it's somewhere like scattered in the room or whatever. Like you search the room for completed objects,
Yeah. No, if I had my way, honestly, I would not have bosses, raid bosses, or anything drop any gear. I would have all of the gear that you need come from professions. So that way, if you get the legendary mat from a boss, then you choose. Like my whole thing in World of Warcraft was the best players sometimes didn't get the gear they needed, or if you want to, you can. Master Loot was such a popular way for guild distribution in World of Warcraft. That went away with personal loot. With Ashes of Creation, if they gave the professions everything, right? So if you did you leveled it all the way, you did all of the quests that are related to your profession, you have legendary recipes that you can make that are super hard to get. And it requires you every week going and killing those bosses to get guaranteed mats that drop from the kill. Then you as a player, as a guild leader or a raid leader can say, well, this person's been showing up. They really need legs. We have all these mats. We're going to give you legs. So technically there really isn't RNG, in that sense, if it was all profession based, because again, that would make it very cool for people. Yeah. At least to me, that's my opinion.
Oh, that's something I totally agree with.
Just a heads up, guys, we do have an ad about to start. I apologize. We turned on ads at a specific time point, tried to push it out for 1 hour, so it was fitting within the 1 hour mark, but yeah, sorry.
Yeah, ads suck, but apparently they make us do it, or make someone do it. I don't even know.
I wish they would just go away. I hate them. They are off for subscribers though, so if you're subscribed, you're not gonna have any you're not gonna have any.
Yeah, Nara's got it. Just sub, no ads.
Yeah.
Just give me $5. It'll be okay.
But
yeah.
But yeah, I know that the games you mentioned before, like the Dauntless and I'm forgetting the other one's name, Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter, yeah.
So it's not like a terribly unique idea of breaking parts off of monsters, but knowing that you can target an action in a raid to make something happen or to gather something is one step towards being an awesome system, and being able to choose between collecting all your little bits and scraps and turning it into a vendor for something cheap of the same theme as what a player could craft, or saving up more mats or an extra piece and giving it to a player to craft a better item of the same theme. I think that fits in the immersion category, the just starting out category, and need to gear my tune completely so you can get a full set of gear for cheap, or you can get a half set of gear and the rest is all going to be crap, and you have a choice at that point. And it's not immersion breaking because you're getting pieces and parts to make something. But if at the end of a battle you get a window that pops up and says, hey, critted horn 17 times, earned 4 horn chunks that can be used towards making gear.
Yeah,
for sure.
The other thing, I think it was Dante or somebody said that the tokens would kind of ruin immersion. But what if it wasn't a token per se? It would be like a coupon maybe for one chess piece or something like that, where it could be either a basic chess piece that you then take to a, maybe not a vendor, but maybe like an armor smith that would then trade you this basic thing and in theory craft you a much better chess piece from this basic thing plus some other mats. There's ways that I think you go around it with the role play aspect of everything. But that wasn't you, that was Woodchip. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that was Woodchip.
But the other thing is also like coupons, like take this to your nearest armor merchant to prove that you slayed this beast or whatever, and you get to reward it for or trade it in for one armor piece of your choice, maybe. Those are just two options I have in mind that would go around that immersion problem, because that's ways that you can build it into the world and make it a little bit more world friendly. But that's also coming from from D&D perspective. So
yeah, I think, with a lot of people, right, they're always trying to go for the path of least resistance. And I think us as MMO players, we all come from WoW, right? I feel like as a WoW player, I was conditioned into efficiency for so long, where it's more efficient to not have a guild. It's more efficient to do everything solo. It's just it's more efficient. And what Ashes is trying to bring back is not saying inefficiency, but it's trying to bring back community. It's trying to bring back player focused content. And and I think with what you were talking about with critting and breaking off a horn, I'm not a fan of that kind of system, but what I think would be good, especially for like a support class or a healer class, is having, if that bull is your boss and you killed that boss in 6 minutes, well, it's going to drop a certain piece or certain pieces of gear. But let's say you get better and better and you killed that boss in 4 minutes. Now a whole new loot drops, or a new loot table drops. Like, let's say there's 2 unique mats that drop from there because you killed it in 4 minutes. To me, that's a better system, because it not only rewards just that one person who may have crit, but it rewards the whole group, because everybody was efficient. We all did our part to kill this boss quicker and faster and more efficient.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I think there could be other little goals and things that could happen too, like along the way. Because to be honest, like some kind of a system that would do that to me would be really great, because then when you go into a battle, if you're just trying to collect mats, you bring I don't know, a leather crafter that's grandmaster, because at the end of the battle it's going to say, hey, you had a leather crafter of this level and you guys did this much damage over time, etc., so you end up getting this. Or just having a leather worker, or just having a smith, and you happen to be in a room that has like it's a metal fortress, and so at the end of the battle you're able to recover scraps and whatnot after that battle is done, and there you go, you get that stuff. So some kind of validation for getting certain loot.
No, I think you hit it right there. Like player agency. Like, would it be so cool if I was a maxed out leather worker and we killed a boss, and there was a unique item only for me, because I was a maxed leather worker, that started a quest chain for me to get my new recipe, and I go on this 5-part quest chain, and it's all player immersion. And now I can make these really awesome, hands with a certain set bonus for my guildies. I think, again, just making it more player agency and giving those moments of, oh my God, yes, we killed the boss. Now I can go on this quest chain. It provides that awesomeness. I think with vendors, it doesn't do that. I think Steven really wants to put the WoW back in like drops, but I don't think it needs to be egregious either. You know what I'm saying? I think you can have a system that's different from Final Fantasy that still feels player focused, and we just got to figure it out.
Hey, Ashes, if you're listening, make that the next step discussion. It's a good topic. I like it.
Yeah.
Ashes says, what if there are 20 max gatherers? Do they all get a unique item?
Sure. If they're all leather workers and that boss drops a piece for leather workers. I mean, again, it's just like it also creates that kind of community where your guild killed a certain boss that a lot of other guilds haven't killed. And you're like, hey, I'm a max level leather worker. Can you take me to go in so I can get that quest that I need? It just provides more and more community. When there's a vendor, it eliminates all that. And I think that's just, it's not player focused that way. And so all I'm saying is that I know people don't want to feel screwed, because they don't like trusting other people. But again, that comes to being in a guild. Like I said, Steven said it, guilds matter in Ashes. They're going to matter. Like, so you got to make sure that you gather up with people that are like-minded, that aren't going to screw you over. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about community and what community you want to be in.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the fun part of collecting little mini drops and whatnot and being able to turn them in almost just to a vendor instead of making all the gear from that raid except for with a few minor exceptions, if I could speak correctly. Because that's how it currently is all the good armor is going to be crafted, and there's going to be a few exceptions of actual completed item drops, right?
Yeah.
But if someone wants to go back and just collect all of that really cool looking old gear, and they're a higher level, and they're just kind of trolling through and blasting things down, what if someone doesn't want to spend the time? Nobody they know is going to spend the time to go through and get those recipes or whatever. And the neat thing about a vendor would be that they could take and get the downgraded power version of those that look just a little bit different, but at least, hey, I got that style of armor now.
Well, for sure, but it also provides more uniqueness. If people aren't willing to go back and get a certain piece of armor, because they don't want to go through all the people that did go through it now have something that's more unique for people that, that other people aren't willing to go through.
Right.
Oh yeah. But that's the kind of the idea I was talking about is, if someone didn't go through that before and run through with a guild and get a guild crafter to make it, et cetera, and they don't have a friend that's willing to learn the patterns to make it for them, they could go through the dungeon on their own or whatever. And
yeah,
I mean, this is all theory because we all know how they're going to design their dungeons and leveling and maybe adjusting, but it's all open world, right? So it's probably not going to be adjusting you to the level of the zone of that specific raid.
Steven doesn't like the equalizing of levels and stuff.
Yeah, so if you personally want to go back and take the time to run through all that stuff, but you're not that specific crafting specialization, then you could still trade it into a vendor and get a different colored or slightly different styled version of that armor so that hey, look, I got that kind of armor. But it's not that armor that somebody went through.
It's not that specific one.
Yeah, it's not that one that somebody went through and had a crafter make for them during, the live time.
I mean, but let's be honest, though, that's like a 2 years after the launch of Ashes of Creation problem. That's not going to be an Alpha 2 problem. But I mean, I think gear, again, it's why people play MMOs, man. They want to be decked out with the coolest stuff to show off. You know what I mean? So gear acquisition is going to be a thing that Intrepid needs to nail. Like they really need to do like a home run with. And but I really do love the fact that it is going to be very profession focused, because coming from WoW, dude, the professions are hot garbage, man. They are so not what professions are. And, I play Final Fantasy 14 more for the story. I haven't really dove into the profession system too much, but just the little stuff that I've done profession-wise, oh my God, that system seems to be amazing. And again, it's just one of those things where people want to not just rely solely on an auction house, to just buy all your gear. Like there has to be that sort of interchangeable thing, which is why I love like the market stalls, the caravans, like all the economic stuff. I am so excited for, because I want to have a freaking player stall. I want to have like my hide shop, like in a town where people I'm the vendor, me, like they can go and talk to me and trade me hide, or I can trade them hide for whatever stuff they have. And it's like a bartering system or whatever, like that to me seems so cool. So cool.
Karzos, thank you so much, by the way. But yeah, there's a lot. I'm super excited. So we have already gone to 8. I don't know what your night looks like in terms of time.
I'm fine.
Okay.
As long as y'all are good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pretty good.
Be good.
I think we're having a great conversation. This is so much fun.
I
When time
agree.
flies by,
we're having a pretty good conversation. It's already been
an hour.
When time flies by,
it's great.
Yeah. And when do I get my Golden Feathers members only jacket? When we make it.
So I'm curious, what features excite you the most? Like why are you so passionate for Ashes? Like, is there something about it other than Steven being amazing and talking all passionate stuff, but like the features in the game, like what really like gets your blood flowing?
Tech, you can go first. I'm gonna yawn. I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries. For me, like it all comes down to the nodes. Like all of the really awesome features out there really come back to the nodes. As much as I always try to avoid just saying that simple, easy, generic go-to answer of the nodes. Literally everything about them are the reasons why I really fell for the project. I mean, the world's going to build itself in response to how the player reacts. It's not the players building the world, but how the players interact with the world grows the world. And then they interact with it in a different way, and more stuff happens, and it's all a chain reaction. But you don't have to worry about, okay, so this one corner of the world is really awesome because these 10 people really love housing and really love role-playing and really love building up all these structures and things, and the rest of the world just sucks because nobody does anything. But the world is reacting to how people do stuff, so all you got to do is play the game, and things are going to change and grow and be dynamic. And that to me is one of the biggest things that the game could possibly do, because it's developer created content that's added to the game and there to discover, there to find, there to trigger, so to say. But you may not see it for 2 years. Not because you're not strong enough, but because, I mean, you may never see it in theory. You may never ever see that one node on your server ever hit level 6. And so you're never going to unlock that one thing they created, ever. And you're just going to have to watch all the YouTube videos on it and go, oh, I wish.
And then all the sieges that are going to happen, all the guild, like that's the one thing. Drama in Ashes is going to be so tasty. Like, let's just be honest, guys. Like the drama that's going to happen in this game, because just to give you a little preview to my nodes video, the one aspect I'm fearful of about the node system is the meta. When we go through Alpha 2 and we start unlocking the node system, and since everything is going to be completely static, like the nodes aren't going to change, those are going to be there for the launch. I'm afraid that there's going to be this sort of, we need to go here to level to 6 or to 3, then over here to 6, and then da 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 da. And it's going to be this meta game to where all servers are basically going to be identical, because this is the meta to do for the most efficiency or the best content. But this is why, even going against myself, playing devil's advocate to myself, that's not going to happen. Drama. Drama. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, my favorite of, you were asking what our favorite feature was.
I'm so sorry. Yes.
No, it's okay. My favorite feature, to lend itself to that part of the conversation, is the fact that every server is going to be different. And in fact, the nodes are based around the predominant race of the players playing in that area. So we may have the same node. It may not be the same type of node, because I believe that's not pre-created to be like predetermined, is what the word I was looking for. But total drama Vera. But we might have this a node in the similar spot that has a whole other type to it and a whole other aesthetic to it. And possibly, because we haven't gotten that far, the aesthetic and type determine what events happen around it. So maybe we have the dragon on our server, but somebody else has these mobs coming in because you're stealing their food source, and how dare you, and they're gonna go track down whoever is stealing their food source and try to take them out, kind of raid. And I really enjoy that. That's my favorite thing, is like every server is a unique world in and of itself. And that's the big draw I had, was just the realistic look of Ashes and the diversity between the servers. It's not the same predetermined story over and over again. Hello, hero. Welcome. You are our savior.
The same on-rails experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot stress how much I love the fact that they're not going that everybody's the superhero and everybody's going to get that one legendary from that one guy who existed long time ago from that same cave.
Yeah.
And everybody who is of a certain class is going to be wearing that same thing. Like they're straying away from that, which is great.
Yeah, it's if you want to go into the world, and you can be a sailor. Like you don't have to be the world's greatest hero. You can just be the captain of the 7 seas, and do the complete naval system and battle people. And that could be all of your gameplay. In World of Warcraft, people just PvP. they just do arena and battlegrounds. They don't do anything else. So, I mean, the one aspect I love about Ashes is the fact that there's so many systems that are so interdependent to the node system that there's just going to be so much player community content that could literally spawn. I can't wait for the religion nodes to spawn. And then you have all those people that the sky is falling, flat earthers come out with picket signs. Like I'm all down for that, you know, like, and I love the fact that Steven is not bending for roleplay servers, because coming to Final Fantasy, who doesn't have roleplay servers, it's just so cool to see a guy in a chicken costume giving eggs out to people, you know?
Yeah.
Like that doesn't happen in World of Warcraft unless you're in the roleplay servers. So it makes the world feel more organic. It makes it feel like fun and exciting. And I really hope that they go into that. And you have people in full on like Captain Hook costumes, and you have those chicken people or cat people, or, you know, just whatever the case is, you know, you make the game how you want it to. And that's the beauty of any MMO.
I'm going to guess that the name is pronounced Lilinae. Just saying, Flatvera Society. If that name isn't taken, if that name isn't taken for a guild like, I'll give it 3 months. If it's not created by then, I'm gonna make that guild as my guild bank on my alt, just so there can be one person out there touting the truth about Flatvera. Yeah.
Dude, there is a guild that I saw on the Discord, just real quick, I'm sorry, where all of them are going to be skinny old men, or like skinny men with like brown robes, just saying all of these crazy religious zealot stuff, and that's their whole point of their guild. And I'm like, that just sounds yes, dude, that sounds so cool. Like, it's just to be in that kind of world, to have those people just there, just, I don't know, man, it just sounds like a whole lot of fun, man. Like I'm so down.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you heard, but like back at least in like 2017 to 2020, we had, I believe the name was Kirby, doing the Ashes, what was it? I forgot what it was called. It's right on the tip of my tongue. Like all the drama, Ashes drama posts. Do you remember that, Vertec?
Yeah, there was.
It was like the little flyers, like.
Yeah, it was like a little newspaper with all the drama and in the community and whatnot. And it looked like it'd be a great idea. Yeah. I thought that was really funny. I know we have one of them saved at least.
I thought it was by somebody named Kirby for some reason.
I forgot. I have to look up. Z probably knows. Z knows everything.
Z, we need you. We need your help, Z.
She's our unofficial community expert. She knows all the stuff. I don't know how, but she knows all the stuff.
Who's the person that made the Ashes drama posts things? I was getting spammed.
It was like the Ashes. Was it on Ashes post?
Yeah, I was right. It was Kirby.
It was Kirby. Okay.
Dante, Rat Lake, Telnar pulling the strings from underneath Metropolis. Yeah. So, okay, for those of you that don't know, the next live stream from Ashes of Creation is on the 28th, which is next Friday. So we're so excited. What do you think they're going to talk about? Because I believe they talked about or hinted at a little bit about the character creator. So what are you hoping to hear? What do you think they're going to talk about?
They're definitely going to drop probably a concept, either concept art, or even give us a real glimpse into the character creator. And it's probably going to be only like a single race, but they're going to probably show you like all the sliders, all the different features that, you know, the character creator is going to have. They might definitely do that, because they mentioned it not only in November, but they mentioned it in December. So I know they're hard at work with the character creators. So I would not surprise me if we also see, like I said, like official, like, you know, those models that are like all like spread eagle out and they
T-post,
rotate, T-post stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if we may see some Renkai models and the new dwarf animated models, and maybe even the who are the underground race?
Tolnar.
The Tolnar. We might even see concept art of the Tolnar. I mean, like I said, they've been hard at work on a lot of different stuff. And in every live stream, if you look back in the old stuff, they don't re-show a lot of old stuff. They almost want you to forget. So I feel like January, February, and March, people think these live streams are going to be really like not good in the sense of like excitement, because now we just, shot our load for December with Unreal Engine 5. But I disagree. I think these next couple of months can actually be very exciting as far as what they may show.
Yeah, I agree.
It's going to be good stuff. Either way, 2022 is going to be a great year for Ashes news.
I agree to that as well. Dante says I'm keeping my expectation for this month's live stream low. They sort of have the schedule of month on exciting news followed by 2 to 3 months of boring casual news. Yeah, that's a fair point.
You know what I want to see? I want to see a troll stream next Friday. I want to see they're going to talk about showing the character creator stuff, but it's going to be Steven with a whiteboard and a marker.
Oh my God! Okay, so what we're gonna have sliders.
He's gonna draw the slider by hand and like scribble in the name above it on what it is.
You could just, yeah.
I would
so we
be
decided
so
to
down
do
for
was.
Yes, that'd be great.
That'd be funny.
That's the one thing I love about Steven is the fact he reminds me of Chris Metzen from like way back in the day. He's just so passionate and loves the game and loves what he's creating. That he can't, if he could joke like that, he would. He's like, oh, I got to do it. I'm going to joke like that for like 3 minutes to make them sweat and think, oh my God, is this really what Steven's showing us? And then they show him the video of like the actual character creator, I can see him doing that, man. They're having fun. They're doing them. And again, I just think there's so much passion that comes from it. And the one thing I tell a lot of my friends is passion is so hard to fake. Like Steven is passionate. When you aren't getting passion, you're getting someone selling you something. If you go to Earth 2 or any of those crypto games and you talk about those creators talking to them or seeing them pitch their thing on YouTube, it's so irky. You're like, oh, like that's not good. Like gross. That's why everyone, when they say metaverse, it's irky, right? Because you can feel like they're selling you something. It's not genuine. It's not real. And with Steven and Intrepid, it's real, man. You can't fake
metaverse.
That. You go. Yeah,
metaverse should be like a meme-driven, space-based MMO shooter. That's what metaverse sounds like to me.
Yeah. It seems like the upgraded version of like a VR Fortnite, where people are like have like teddy bear helmets and laser beam. It's all stupid. It's just all memed out.
Welcome to the metaverse. Pew pew pew.
You have all the Pepe emotions all like going live everywhere, like killing people. Like it's I don't know. It's just not genuine, man. Like that's why I'm just so happy for Ashes, because it's just it's definitely a passion project and you feel it.
Yeah. I love when you can tell somebody is like excited or passionate about stuff. It just really comes through. Like you can just tell, and it's really fun because that kind of gives off an energy that makes you excited and more interested about it as well.
Oh, for sure. And believe me, I've talked to a lot of my friends who are still playing WoW, and I will slowly convert them. I will make them see the light one day or the other, because I just don't see WoW really doing a turnaround. I don't. Yeah. Even with the recent buyout from Microsoft, that's not going to affect anything happening in 9.2. That's not going to affect anything happening in 10.0. So, I mean, Ian Hazukosis is still the lead game designer. Steve Denuser is still the lead narrative designer. The game's not going to go better. It's only going to be more of the same. And you're only hyping yourself up because you have no other choice, because the only other choice is literally crawling on the floor in the fetal position, crying. That's the only other choice you got. So
just fold up shop and say, lesson learned. Next.
Yeah, basically. That's why a lot of people are playing Final Fantasy, man, because they would rather play a game that makes them happy instead of making a game that only has nostalgia keeping them there.
Right.
It's just
and
not where people want.
As a quick 5-minute throwback to chat there, by the way, Karthos was saying in reference to the whiteboard thing, the troll stream, said do it Madden style. Like, you see this arm here? That arm goes bam, it's a magic arm. And it's gonna cast a spell, and that's how you get a magic football. I could see Steven getting into that. Actually, I read it in Steven's voice at first. I was like, oh wait, yeah, okay, even better.
Oh my God. I just saw Karthos said, who would be the worst guest but still entertaining? And then I saw someone say Mark Zuckerberg. Dude, have you seen him get interviewed? Oh, it's so irky, like gross.
It's like Data from Star Trek. That's what I imagine every single time. Just that open-eyed stare, just straightforward, no emotion, and then like drinking water every 3 seconds because humans drink water, right?
Yes, it's so weird, man. Every time I see Mark Zuckerberg, I think one of the girls just said jokingly, like, "Hey, take off your shirt," ha, ha, and he's just like, "That makes me feel so uncomfortable. Should I take off my shirt?" Like, it was just so weird. I was like, "Oh, dude, she was just joking. Chill out." Like, but he's so unnatural. He's like I don't know if he's like the worst of the lizard people on Earth or what. You know,
it's the worst at hiding it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know, man.
Which is weird because when you see pictures of him with like people, he doesn't have that same look. It's literally when he's sitting there in an interview with a mic in front of him to talk about stuff. Is when
my imagination is that he's trying to be like, okay, what would a poker face look like?
Yeah. What's even scarier is that there is a lifelike replica of him, sort of like what they do with the president of the United States. There's like a life, and the lifelike version of him looks more lifelike than the real Mark Zuckerberg. It's the most scariest thing ever. Like, it's gross.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Poor Mark, man.
I am human. Okay. Of course I am.
Right? I had a question about the number of mobs related to players. So let's say you're the only person and there's a good number of mobs around you, but then there's a more populated area of people. Do you think that that would make it feel empty because there's a lot more people but the same number of mobs? Or do you think it feels correct? Like, does it feel like there should be more mobs? Does it feel like that's a normal feeling? Just kind of curious.
So when I was watching Alpha 1 gameplay, there was a particular area where there was a whole bunch of like goblins. Like it was densely populated with goblins. And as because you know, we come from World of Warcraft, right? Everything is soloable. You can't solo that in the Alpha 1 at least. So you need people. Right. I think with Alpha 2, again, because the world was so vacant and they were still making enemy character models and NPCs, that they are going to have to evenly distribute certain parts of the world. But I'm pretty sure certain areas are going to be a little bit barren than others. But it just comes down to the kind of content that's going to be related for that area. And just like Vertec was saying with the node systems and the evolutions that those stages will go, more content will unlock the higher the node stages goes. So, at stage 2, it might seem like there really isn't anything here. Like, why is it here? There's only like a couple of things to do. But once it hits level 3, oh crap, we have like an entrance now to like a dungeon. We have like all these mobs trying to populate the area now. So I think some stuff is going to be a little bit of a waiting game. But that's the whole point, right? Is the fact stuff has to be explored. Stuff has to be leveled. And I think that's just going to go into the exploration side of Ashes.
Yeah, it's like earlier, I want to say it was Woodchip that mentioned it, but saying that if there is a public test realm, like a PTR or PTS for public test server, and it mimics the world exactly, you're saying that within a year, all the data about every node will be released. But I'm not too terribly sure, because if you remember, Steven said a couple times, it's not going to be a thing where you can just go out with, a handful of people and level up a node to, tier 6 in like a month or something. You're saying it would take a good number of people a good bit of time, like
couple of months. In the months. It might take up to 2.5. Yeah, 2.5 3 months.
To get a single tier 6 node.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And it also depends too if the server's willing to comply with that being a tier 6 node. Again, it's all about agenda. If your agenda is not aligned to where, no, we want this node to be the level 6, and then there's the server's like, well, no, we want this node to be level 6. Again, drama. It may take a year because of just back and forth that may apply. Who knows?
Yeah. A single guild joining the game as a whole because they found out about it at a certain time, or they just decided they were going to leave X other game because of a certain expansion that just soured their taste on it. Like, hey, let's
Yeah.
try that Ashes thing. Them jumping on could swing the balance between a couple other nodes that would have gone tier 6, but they decided to go to this other one instead.
Yeah.
Or, for that matter, create a 3-way tie between a couple of them. Because who knows, maybe they have 1,000 people like Old Timers Guild that are going to jump in and start playing.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where, as a WoW person, we always complain about lack of content. Content lasts us like a couple of weeks, and we have to wait maybe 3 months. Nowadays, it's 6 months, if not more.
I feel like...
Or go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say, I feel like that's most games though, because
No, true.
when it's like block-based like that, there's everybody who's been so excited and like waiting for that content that just pushes through everything because they're just so excited, and then they're out of content again.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of the node system, is that it's technically not even time gated, really. It's player gated. Because if players aren't willing to comply with a certain node going up in level, it's going to take a lot longer, which means content is there. It's there to experience. You just haven't unlocked it yet. And then it's just going to be the whole drama of like guilds getting bigger, recruiting so we can get this particular node up to stage 6, and again, it's all about, complying, because we're talking about it as if the whole 10,000 people in a server are trying to level a specific node. Mm-hmm. If all of that is happening, maybe that takes them 2 months to do. But that realistically, that's not going to happen, right? So, my whole thing is that there's 103 nodes in the world of Vera. That's a lot of content, So my fear with Ashes of Creation is, and this again, it goes into more of my video, so I'm giving you tidbits of my video a little bit, but is how Intrepid can handle that much content. Because it's literally a lot.
That's what I was just thinking earlier, and I was actually going to phrase a question out to you, is what do you think, or how much content do you think is going to created for launch, and how much is going to be released in mini patches over the course of the next who knows how long? Like, they may create some major raids or dungeons for, say, 5 to 10 different nodes. And then after launch, they're working on adding other raids and dungeons and such like that, and dropping them over here and there and there and there. So it's potentially possible you could see the rise and fall of a tier 6 node and not see content that's going to be dropped a year later without a lot of fanfare. It's just, hey, we added some new dungeons to a couple other nodes. Go out and find them. Good luck.
No, for sure. And then again, you times 103 by 4, right? Because in my opinion, you want to concentrate as a developer on the first 4 stages of the node, because it's going to take people a lot longer to hit 5 and 6. So even if you have at launch no content for stages 5 and 6, you literally can still, as a development team, can go in, start making content as long as there's quality content from stages 1 through 4. So, So definitely. Again, so it's one of those things where they have to make sure that content is not only compelling, but fun, engaging, and has activities that interweave with professions, the religion system, the caravan system, the siege system, the guild war system, like all of the other interdependent systems that go with Ashes. So they really have to do, and just to kind of give you a ballpark, right? World of Warcraft originally in launch, before they launched, they were wanting to, when they were just putting pen to paper, wanted to do about 800 quests across both continents. They ended up finishing World of Warcraft with over 2,600 quests in total. And so you think of that, right? In a linear based system where there's just quests already there, not needing to be unlocked. Think about that into Ashes and what they need to do for 103 different nodes across 2 major continents.
Some of those quests may not be seen for a really long time.
Yep.
Or ever.
Or I mean, like I said, so you have to play your cards. You have to play your cards close to the chest, and like I said, with each particular node, make sure that quality content from at least a stage 1 through 4 is good.
Zillin.
I agree.
Long time no see, friend.
Yeah,
Zillin.
I was gonna mention that they are specifically creating the nodes to be something that, yes, initially you can level it up within an hour, and then a couple of hours, and then a day and then a month and so on and so forth. So each time the node levels, it gets progressively longer. And that's kind of nice because, again, it gives the devs time to work on what the upper levels of that node would look like. And I believe one of their live streams, they showed a video of them with the randomizer for the things that go on the table so that all of the tables don't look the same. Because I mean, like World of Warcraft has a lot of tables that look pretty much the same. And you're like, oh, it's that table again. Cool. Like, but I think it's really, really cool. And like technology has this really interesting way of being able to randomize without taking too much resources. And I've seen that from a Foundry and a D&D player's perspective, because Vertec and I found Dungeon Alchemy or something like that, which is meant to completely randomize this whole entire campaign thing on the fly. And it's really cool. So having utilities like that to be able to add into gameplay for MMO development, I'm excited. We have a lot of new technology in our grasp that allows us to do a lot more with games than World of Warcraft could even think of doing because of their initial timeline of launching,
No, you're totally right. And that's what makes it so awesome, because it's all player focused. It's all player driven. They give you the keys of the castle and you go wild, go wherever you want, do whatever you want. And then, like I said, I'm just excited for the Game of Thrones aspect of this game, man. Like, I don't know. It just seems so cool because no other game or MMO is like that anymore. It's only politically driven, right? When it comes to gear for most games, right? But this goes way beyond gear. This is now territories, items, inventory, everything. I mean, it's housing, the animal husbandry system, the naval system, the religion system,
so many things.
It's just crazy. Like, and so I don't know. It's just, and especially again, because we've never experienced that as a community before. It's going to be very exciting to see the nodes develop and stuff like that. And even if there is a meta that we experienced in the alpha, who's to say that's even going to happen? Because that would mean all 10 or 8,000 people have to be all in one accord to do the meta for our server, and believe
that is the best way to go, because that's going to be a trick in itself, because not every RP WoW server had a Goldshire addiction.
Exactly. Or you may have a bunch of guilds go into one server that are all naval centric, right? So you have like 8 or 10, 12 guilds that are completely all about the 7 seas and they want to go and do naval stuff. So clearly they're going to all want to go on the coast and level those nodes first, And especially what's going to be even crazier is what if you get into a server where it's a really healthy divide of people's, and what they want to do. It's going to take so much time for nodes to level and what people decide and what they want to level. And again, it's going to be very exciting. But again, they have to make that content good. And there has to be really compelling things to do in the first 3 stages. Because if they miss the mark on the first 3 stages of the node system, that could really spell destruction for Ashes. Because because then all the content is dried up. It's boring. We have to wait so much time for a tier 4 node to spawn, and all the content we've done is just so boring and I don't want to play anymore. That might happen, and again, it just comes down to the kind of balancing act that the Alpha 2 is going to have to do for how much time they want to do or how much content should we put in. Because just like you said, that node may never experience a level 2 in a certain server. So you wasted all this resources going into it.
You know what my mind keeps hoping for? And I don't even know why, but it keeps hoping to see a heat map down the line of all the different nodes.
Oh yeah.
And just to see that the one node that sees the absolute least amount of action is like right in the middle of the map or something. Just because for some reason in the middle of the map there's nothing going on, but every other corner of the map has something interesting, except for the one just smack dab in the middle that nobody ever really goes to.
Yeah. I think again, it's just going to be all player dependent. Like, I'm really excited for the military nodes. I think to have a Coliseum arena where you as a person can go and see people fight in the arena. It's like the Gurabashi arena in World of Warcraft, but to a larger scale. And I
monthly.
think that's so cool. Yes, like that's going to be so cool to see a mayor for that military node get chosen because they were the last man standing. I don't know.
It's going to be really a monthly thing that's pre-planned and desired by a lot of people, unlike the Gurubashi thing, which is like you swing by at unknown hours of the day and you're like, I'll get the chest now. But no, some like level 912 with all the best gear just drops in, slays you, grabs it, and runs away. But you only see that one other person, and that was it.
Yeah.
Right.
And it just becomes content that's just not really that fun unless you get like a guild together, of course, and go there and create that kind of content. But the game is already creating that incentive for you already with the military node system. And especially for all the PvPers that are going to be heavily into there, it's going to be really cool to see all of them battle it out to see who's going to be the commander of that node.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so
Exciting.
we have been going for a little while now. I do believe it's about time to start winding down. But if we were to do a lightning round, say 1 minute response or less, which of because we had a couple things that we noted. I mean, I know we talked about a whole lot of stuff that we didn't make any notes on, which is awesome. But we got, I think, 3 little things left there that we didn't actually cover at all. Nope. We have 2 things left there.
Okay.
You have a preference on which one? Like the most
If you're asking me, no.
No?
I'm excited. I have no idea what's happening. Let's do it.
So the one is going to require a whole lot of in-depth stuff. But the other one actually is a lot simpler to do, like lightning round super fast. So, what is your favorite completionist game system? And do you think AOC needs something like that? Like, for instance, some examples they gave were like Warhammer Online's lore book, the WoW Retail's just achievement system in general, the classic reputations.
So I've always envisioned World of Warcraft, if they actually had a player housing system similar to Final Fantasy, the transmog system, I think is a great completionist system. Because you have the mounts that are integrated into there, you got gear, all gear integrated into there, and you would also have the player housing all integrated into there. So, with Asmongold doing like mount offs, transmog comps, I think Ashes, what they need to do is really have a great UI like inventory system that actually catalogs all your transmog, your mounts, your player housing pieces, because people want to go and farm for those things, especially for player housing. The reason why Final Fantasy is so successful for player housing is because there's a lot of stuff in older expansions that are necessary to make certain pieces of player housing stuff, whether it's chairs, rugs, walls, all that stuff.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds like a dandy thing for me, because I like collecting all the... What's really funny, and so here's my weird paradox. Yeah, I like collecting all the things, but I don't always use all the things. Like, I have to collect all the housing items, but I'm not a housing nut. I like having a good housing system, but I usually just pile all the really cool stuff randomly and out and about just to be like, look what I found. It's really rare. And it took me a lot of effort. The end. But it's not in a cohesive like design. I don't create like the fabulous must tour house.
Yeah. And it's just, again, it comes down to making sure that you feel accomplished in the game.
Yeah.
And I think with achievement systems and stuff like that, I think they do really well, and I think especially with a lot of the profession system this game is going to be very heavily profession focused. As long as they can provide those profession people with the majority of stuff that comes from leveling that profession, I think Ashes will be just fine.
Yeah, no, the thing I can say is I'm going to veer away from the direct question and say that the one thing I don't want is a reputation system that you're required to get reputation every single expansion in every single major area in order to progress through that area. It's all right if you just have to make friends, and that's it. You just make friends really quick, and then you can talk to them, and they're like, hey, you're a cool cat. But the like 5 different levels of reputation just to do this or that or the other, come on, I don't want to spend a year on one reputation.
I think it'd be really cool to have No, for sure. I think it'd be really cool to have sort of like SWTOR does for like the light side and the dark side, but it's not a reputation and say for like civilizations, but more a reputation for yourself. Like almost like Fable. Are you going to be a good person or a bad person? So especially with the corruption system and how that's going to play out, I think it'd be really cool to see how many times did you dabble in killing people on purpose, and to see that reflected on your reputation, to see like, oh, I've been sort of an outlaw in my past. I don't do it that much anymore, but I may, because I have done it before in the past. It's sort of like whenever you're a pedophile and you have to go door to door and say, hey, I live in your area and I used to be a pedophile or whatever. You know, it's sort of, you know, it'd be a system similar to like that. So that way, you know, almost like with a certain icon or a badge by your name, that there's like certain good deeds that you did. And you're like, oh, dang, that's actually a good person. And then, oh, that's not so good of a person. That person I may have to be worried about whenever I'm with my wife hunting for mats in this area. You know?
Oh yeah, something like that would be pretty decent. I could be down for that. But trying to get like the what were those dragons that had the super wispy wings? The Ember Storm or something like that. Dragons out in Burning Crusade.
Oh,
the Netherwing.
Yeah.
Netherwing. That was it.
Drakes.
Netherwing.
Yeah.
When you can spend 2 months trying to work on that and still not have a stupid dragon. And it's a very go to A, get A, and then go to B line of doing things. And you still can't after 2 months. There's something wrong. The expansion's only going to last, you know, that current part of the expansion is only going to last 6 months, and then you're moving on.
That's another reason why I'm so excited for Intrepid is because feedback, I think, is going to be implemented so much better in this game compared to a lot of other MMOs. They listen. Like, I mean, dude, like I wasn't even in the Alpha 1 and they were like, hey guys, we see that there's people that are not liking the, for Melee, like it was the fixed root motion. And then there was the fixed motion, or I can't remember the difference, but basically they let y'all toggle in the Alpha to say, what do you like better? Do you like the split body animation or the fixed root motion? And I'm like, holy crap, that was really fast. That was like a week of them talking about it, and they implement it like right then and there. So I think in your scenario, if there was a quest that was like, this feels way too grindy or this doesn't feel good, I'm pretty sure if you were to make a video, leave feedback on their forums, they probably will address it if there's more of a call for it. And that's the big difference between this company and a lot of other AAA studios.
Yeah. But Miss Bree, did you have something to tag on for that one at all?
Nope.
I know you're not necessarily a big completionist like I am. I got a 100% everything. I think that's the since I need to get all the things.
That's not true. I take my time to do it. He does it immediately. He will take 30 minutes getting out of the starting zone, whereas I'm already out of the starting zone and looking for something else, and I'll come back later. Like, yeah.
You didn't do pet battles in WoW? Like you didn't collect the pets?
I did a little bit, but it was more like end game stuff because I didn't need to do it.
So you're more of a raider. You're like me.
I like raiding, yeah.
I feel you.
But I would wait until I don't need to level anymore to go back and do the things that don't require, like that don't give you XP necessarily, or give you very minuscule XP.
Ooh. Vale Mistwarden said, like to see the sightseeing log, like Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, exactly. I like that.
Oh, yeah. Guild Wars 2 has something like that too, right? I've never played it, but I think they have like a sort of like the scope thing. Yeah. That'd be awesome because there are the world's so big and there's so many areas that Steven was saying that's going to be like photo worthy, like just the horizons, and especially with the Lumen now. Oh my God. Like the lighting is going to be so great in the world, man.
It's going to be
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Can't wait. Taking too long. And by too long, I mean it wasn't launched at the time I got into the Kickstarter. Anything longer than that's been too long.
And I've only been around since 2020 waiting for this game. I can't imagine what it feels like to be waiting since 2017. Oh, man.
Well, shall we go ahead and wrap it up?
We shall.
Okay, cool. I just want to say, by the way, we are working with a couple of people to get sub badges and emotes going. I did try to do it before we came back for 2022. That did not pan out very well. So it's in the process. We have one person working on a few pieces, so super excited to bring those to you guys. And additionally, we're starting to plan out some Tavern merch because we think it's about time we make some stuff. So thank you, Grumpy.
Yeah, we got a little bit of time for all that stuff, so don't expect to see stuff like next month or anything.
Yeah, no, not super fast. But yeah, I'm excited about the in-game recording tool. Yeah, me too, Ashes. What do you think? Should we raid Keybind? He's playing Lost Ark at the moment.
You know, that's exactly who I was looking at, just because our new friend here is all about some Lost Ark. So I thought that'd be pretty good thematically to raid somebody who's playing Lost Ark.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
I agree. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get that prepped if you want to get the outro stuff going.
You, sir, did you have any final words for everybody? Did you want to share any info about upcoming projects, anything you're looking to do, or just share some words about the stuff that you do?
Well, my name is Vladis. YouTube is Vladis Gaming if you want to look me up. But I really want to do one-on-one interviews. I think I really want to get to know the community. I think getting into people's backgrounds, why they're passionate about Ashes, or even other video games, other MMOs. I'm just willing to have a conversation and chat. And I do have a couple of one-on-ones lined up already. But if you want to message me on Discord and I can try to schedule all that stuff out. But that's sort of what I want to do. I really want to go into the more of the emotional aspect of MMOs for my channel.
Yeah.
Rock on.
Also, I don't know if a mod can or Vertec, I need exclamation mark guess for his links, please. Thank you. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us, and thank you for coming on so last minute. I had asked you, I think, on Wednesday, and I was like, oh no, I don't know if I'm going to find anybody for Friday.
No, it was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for reaching out. I really appreciate it. I couldn't have had a better time.
Well,
I saw your video, and I was like, new person.
Oh, yes, new person.
It was good stuff. But yes, everybody, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for spending your time with us and meeting this new friend of ours. New friend of yours now.
Hey,
everybody take care, and we'll see you around next time.